everybody. This is Dan, and I promise you that I am not actually stoic or speaking to you from my mind. That's just an image of me. Once again, I'm having some, network connectivity issues with the awesome Japanese internet providers that make my video a bit clunky. So decided just to do sound this time to avoid any confusion. And so, welcome to another exciting AMA. And with me, I have none other than Alex, the Kushti Chepurnoy. And say hi to everybody, Alex.
Hi, everyone. My pleasure to be here again.
Excellent. All right, guys. Well, we're going to be taking questions from you as always. And just first, let's see about a few updates. So from my end, I've been working on the SW curriculum and launching the course, the Ergo backed, I guess, course that we're going to be doing over there. It's coming along really well. I believe that the fall semester is when it's actually going to start. So we'll give more updates as that happens. It's just really exciting to be able to, to do that in just a real world production environment where people are just going to be learning about blockchain, and that blockchain will be Ergo. So that's really exciting. Another kind of piece of work that myself as well as a few other EF members have been concentrating on is working with potential funds to come into the ecosystem to do project funding to basically, to invest in the ecosystem. So we're just waiting for the holidays to be over right now to continue our conversations. And, there's holidays in different countries for different reasons, not just Easter, not just Passover, but there's some holidays out in Asia as well that are kind of falling around the same time. And so we're just waiting for those holidays to be over to restart the conversations and to potentially bring more of these kinds of people into the ecosystem so that we can help projects in the ecosystem spin up and kind of find their footing. And and last but not least, working with integrating or getting integration partners for Rosenbridge from various entities and exchanges out there, and actively having those conversations. So really exciting. I'm going to get Rosen out there and going to get it, mass adopted as it should be. Well, that's about it from me. Alex, how about yourself? What have you been up to?
A lot of things happened as usual. So the network had another emission reduction like a couple of days ago. A lot of talks about emission and how it's done in the Ergo, as it is quite unique network having emission done as a smart contract, surprisingly. I believe every blockchain which is being sold as a smart contract platform should have its own emission done as a smart contract, right? So it's pretty much like every programming language is trying to have a compiler done in this language as the initial goal. That happens all the time, but surprisingly, for smart contract platforms, it's not the case. All right, so there was a minor reference client 508 release, 509 on the way. There were a lot of discussions in the community as well as forum posts on New contracts, design patterns, and so on. Pretty good developers chat yesterday. So, there will be Sunday video about that. And a lot of things going on. So I'm also working with the Dexy team, and seems a lot of progress there in regards with backend and front end functionalities. And I also polished contracts a lot in recent days. And for Oracle Pulse 2.0, there is a lot of testing going on still on the testnet. So probably soon we will have some procedure, maybe contest for Oracle Pool operators for the mainnet.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Alex. A lot of good updates there, and I guess we're all really excited about all the new stuff that's coming out. So let's get to the questions. Let's see. So I guess this is a good question for Alex. So this is a question for Wendy Moon, one of our regulars. We appreciate you being here every week, Wendy. And the question is, do you think Ergo price will increase as emissions reduces as there is less selling pressure from the miners? Or is it more complicated than that? So what do you think, Alex? I think you're on mute.
Oh yeah, my bad. Sorry. It's always more complicated than any model, right? But some price appreciation already happened. Just after emission reduction, and I think this is the case. So, there are many factors, right? But this one also working for price appreciation for sure.
Great. Okay.
Sorry. So it's pretty straightforward supply and demand. Right. For factors working around the markets. Well, there are other factors for sure, like TVL and so on, expectations, right, of market agents. It's always a complicated picture, and will be more and more complicated with time. The supply of new tokens is also in the equation.
All right. Well, thanks. That covers it pretty well. And so here's another one, Alex. I think this is. I mean, either of us can answer, but I think people would like to hear it from you. So how does someone become a watcher of the Rosen Bridge?
Oh, so actually, I'm not quite following this topic. So better to reach MHS about that. So, as far as I know, there is some pledge involved. There is some slashing right for incorrect behavior. unlike Oracle pools, the current set of contracts at least. But yeah, I guess you know better then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's pretty much it. There is some pledge. There's actually there have been talks to potentially have stake pool operators be watchers on the Cardano side. So yeah, that's pretty much what it is. There is a small pledge. There is a I'm not sure about the slashing, but I think there's something like that going on as well. And yeah, we're actually going to have an Ergo Pulse episode coming up with MHS Sam and talking about Rosenbridge. So if you would like to send us your questions for that, please make sure to do that in the Ergo Telegram group, or just reach out to me through whatever means, and we'll make sure that we'll get MHS Sam to answer it for you. All right. Let's see. So there's a question about an AMA from Flux with major POW chains. I don't know. Are we a part of that, Alex?
It will happen tomorrow. So not quite clear who will participate from Ergo side still. So it will be whether about Lithos guys, so Rob or Kirat, maybe me. Let's see. So yeah, someone will represent Ergo there.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully we'll get somebody from our end on there. But yeah, we'll have to get back to you on that. All right. Let's see.
Yeah, actually, it would be good
here.
to see Lithos guys here, because they are really building something innovative in regards with proof of work mining, and also pretty Ergo specific stuff at the moment, at least.
All right. So there's a question here from HQER, or I mean, I'm not sure. Is that HQER? Is it Hucker, or how am I supposed to say that, Alex?
I don't know. Maybe hacker, indeed. Never thought about that, actually. But yeah, it's
Heckcure.
It's a very active member of the community, and yeah, the guy behind the awesome Rcube website.
Yeah, and I am definitely familiar with Hecker. I just, it's like one of those things that you don't really say out loud too much. You kind of read it and you know exactly who it is, but then you try to say it out loud. You're like, I think that's how you say it. So HQ Ergo. Okay, HQ Ergo. That's I guess that's what it's supposed to stand for.
Yeah,
Ergo Sigma
high quality Ergonaut.
maybe high quality Ergonaut. That's it. High quality Ergo. That's it. And so high quality Ergo headquarters is asking, Dan, would you like to share feedback about your development on Ergo in the past week? Did you find it easy and get help from the community devs? So Okay, yeah, I have been. I mean, if some of you have been, checking the dev chat, yeah, I have been digging into development, mostly trying to find Scala ways of doing things. So so here's my experience. Definitely a lot of really good help from the community. I mean, there's literally somebody there at all times. Answering my questions, sending me links. Yeah, there's a lot of active community members, a lot of help. I have been having a bit of a problem trying to get exactly what I need, which is basically the Scala instance of what I'm trying to, or a Scala, I guess, example of what I'm trying to achieve. It's not a matter of there not being that online. It's just a matter of setting things up from my end. I've been having a bit of an issue with dependencies being recognized on my end. But again, that's just I guess that's just kind of growing pains. It's one of those things. Once you get it all set up, after that, it's it's kind of a lot more smoother sailing. So I mean that's been my experience. Like I said, I've been kind of really going at it for about a week. Yeah, and a lot of really good help from the community, and just me trying to kind of make sense out of everything for what I'm trying to do, which is, like I said, which is a straight Scala implementation. So yeah, and I'm gonna continue working with the community devs, and yeah, they're like I said, they're being very helpful. So hopefully, I will get my NFT minting script working sooner or later, which is what I've been working on right now. And yeah, I will share more information about my progress here.
All right. So as far as I know, there are a lot of NFT minting scripts in Python and so on.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, so some guy sent you even some Scala minter. I wasn't.
Yeah, they did, and I'm going to be trying it out after the AMA tonight. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The devs have been more than helpful. Exactly. That's what Alex is saying. I've been having trouble getting things to work on Scala. So somebody actually created a Scala project for me and said, here, use this to mint some NFTs. So yeah, very, the community is great. And, it's very low barrier of entry for anybody who wants to get into it. All right. And so let's see. Well, High Quality Ergo is telling us that you guys murdered my nickname. Going to call myself Dan 2.0 from now on. All right. You do you, man. You do you. Do whatever you need to.
There is already a Dan 2.0, right? So you have some.
There is a Dan 2.0, so you're gonna have to be Dan like 2.5 at least, 3.0 maybe. So we're gonna figure it out. Yeah. Dan 2.0 actually just started kindergarten, so I actually have free time now in the middle of the day, which is really just odd. But I'll get used to it again. And let's see. All right. So Joe Holton is asking, how is Palmyra coming along? What commodities can we expect to see trading on it? So, the ones that Palmyra is coming along. As you see, I've started development on it, and we will have a rudimentary traceability primitive ready by next week, I believe. This is what the whole NFT thing's been about. Basically, what I'm trying to create right now is a Scala program that will mint an NFT, pull information out of a SQL database and then put it into the metadata of the NFT. And so then, which is going to be traceability data, and the NFT is going to be a representation of a real world asset. In that case, it will be a batch of tea, of Sri Lankan tea, but it's also going to be there's going to be two commodities that we're going to be onboarding onto the MVP. One of them is going to be tea, and the other one is going to be Thai gold. And I know you guys probably heard us talk about Thai gold before. It's so Thai gold is a very specific purity. It's not LBMA, which is what's being traded on regular commodity exchanges, but it is a 95 or 95.6% pure. The smelting process is very unique to Thailand. It's gold that's very widely used in jewelry. And so this gold is being onboarded onto Palmyra, and so you're going to be able to buy and sell it. Trading is going to come in V2. So the V1 of the MVP is buy, sell, trace, pay. So it's going to be a spot buying and selling, and traceability, and then basically payments, as well as a few value add services like reporting and communication within the buyer and seller community, which is actually lacking right now. So ways to organize combined shipments, logistics, to utilize different credentials and transfer credentials that are needed for export. So these are going to be in the V1 of the MVP. All right. Let's see. Let's look at another question here. So Mikado is asking, and this might be a good question for Alex, would it be possible for Ergo to develop a similar mobile transaction service to M-Pesa? So M-Pesa is a mobile financial service that allows users to make money transfers and payments through their mobile phones without the need for a traditional bank account. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah. So M-Pesa is mobile payment solution which is using USSD transport, as far as I know. It's quite popular approach in Africa. Well, as far as I know. Would be possible. Need to check actually. Maybe there are some alternatives, crypto-based already, Bitcoin-based. To M-Pesa, but yeah, I don't really know. Need to check. But technically, surely possible.
All righty. Thank you, Alex. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? So here's a question from Augustus Kent. Do you think Ergo will one day, in parentheses soon, get the spotlight due to one killer app, or will it be more about the platform and the slow and steady growth of everything? So, it's hard to tell. There have been cases like that where an ecosystem gets spotlight because there's one killer dApp or one killer app that comes out of the ecosystem and everybody uses it, and then everybody starts asking, oh, wait a second, who are these guys? What is this? In our case, what is this Ergo that this thing is being run by? In my case, I hope and I believe that's going to be the Palmyra exchange. The Palmyra platform, I think, and that's one of the main intentions of Palmyra is to bring Ergo to the masses that might not be too familiar or really understand what Ergo is about, or even care about blockchain in general. So that is one of my aspirations, is to do that for the ecosystem. Yeah, it could happen, but it's it's a quote that I guess mentioned a couple of times before, and it always comes back to mind from my Hollywood days in another life. And so my late great acting coach, Alan Williams, he would always kind of mention this quote from Walter Matthau. And Walter Matthau said something in sorts of, to make in showbiz, all you need is 40 lucky breaks. And I mean, it's true for not just for show business. I think for everything, that's really true. To have a prolonged, sustainable, I guess, state of relevance, it's going to take more than just one killer dApp. We're going to have to consistently bring quality products from the ecosystem, and the ecosystem is going to have to stay quality consistently for it to have a long-term and steady growth, which I believe it will be. So, while I do believe that the first thing that you mentioned is possible, I think the latter is going to be more sustainable. What are your thoughts, Alex?
Maybe killer apps already they're just not promoted so well. Still not many VCs here and so on, right? No any VCs at the moment, right? The growth is organic, and then it is needed to get some critical mass to get an explosion, right? And I think there will be many killer apps because things are evolving quickly in this space. For example, Uniswap was pretty killer app, right? After ICOs in Ethereum. But then, a lot of modifications appeared. Also quite useful, and also quite killer for some needs.
All right, thank you, Alex.
So the point is there are many needs, right? And then there will be many killer apps.
Yeah, absolutely.
One after another.
Right. Right. So this is something I'm not too up on. So maybe Alex might have some information on this. So Bison Buffalo asks, any updates on grid bots? I currently farm certain DeFi dApps on EVM chains, and grid bots could be pretty killer in Ergo. In general, EVM blockchains are not quite friendly to order book based dexes. Simple ones, grid bots, and other forms of smart orders. As far as I know, Machina Finance is working on opening grids to everyone,
So there will be outsourced trading with grids via the platform. And I think for UTXO model, order book based DEXs could actually perform very well, unlike EVM, where they are very inefficient and so expensive. And so what you can have is just Uniswap like DEXs, right, which we already have on Ergo.
All right. And so here's another good question here from Joe Halton. Does the Oracle function of Ergo make chains such as Chainlink redundant?
So for Chainlink, probably a lot of not clear aspects, right? So why do you need for a dedicated token, for example? Right. So especially initially, so there was just Ethereum. Right, Ethereum DeFi served by Chainlink, then oracles can get paid in just ETH. Right, so why to invent another token with not uncontroversial tokenomics even, right? Let's say. I cannot comment really on the quality of the tokenomics, but yeah, can refer to Zeus documents, right? So Zeus guys, if my memory serves me well, made investigation in tokenomics and so on back in 2019 or 2020, something like that. Oracle pools in Ergo clear in opposite to Chainlink. Yeah.
There it is. Had myself on mute again.
Yeah. So, for Oracle pools in Ergo, maybe, the promising direction is to move, most of operations to layer 2. And, I think that will be done eventually. If blockchain space will become more expensive, so there will be motivation for it. And I think this is possible, but not sure about concrete designs. Maybe we'll think and publish something about that eventually.
All right, and there's another question for Alex here. So Alex, this is from TC Montague. Alex, how do you see the AI renaissance impacting Ergo?
How do I see what, sorry?
The AI renaissance impacting Ergo.
Actually, I have some thoughts maybe to expressed in form of forum post. Not sure when, maybe soon, maybe not. I think in the context of blockchain and digital economies, it would be useful to consider AI as an economic agent, right? Which maybe can buy even GPU power over the blockchain, right? And do fundraising there as well. So yeah, I had some thoughts about that even back in 2014, but it was back then pretty much like sci-fi kind of thinking. But currently, well, it seems to be more or less doable, right? So we can imagine AI doing some work in digital worlds and communicating well as an economic agent over the blockchain with human beings and maybe other AI agents. Right, and yeah, maybe improving itself by buying GPU power our blockchain as well, and so yeah, getting profits in form of blockchain tokens, native or custom ones, right, and doing fundraising, maybe getting loans. Yeah, it's possible. Everything seems to be possible. Yeah. So yeah, it's not sci-fi anymore. So looks like not sure about short term, but yeah, midterm. It's seems to be doable. What do you think, Dan? Dan?
Okay, see,
you're muted.
I knew I was on mute. It's yeah, it's a vice of mine. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I believe that. Well, I mean, you know what you mentioned obviously is very good points. Are very good points. Just to add to that. I just think that the AI revolution is actually on again in the midterm, because you need to really, I guess, you know, work with the AI model to truly be able to do this. But I think that in the midterm, AI would be really good for lowering the barrier of entry for Ergo developers, and to be able to dev and create dApps on Ergo by people who are not necessarily programmers. Well, for example, even right now, some Ergo community members already have been working with ChatGPT to teach it some Ergo script. And so while, I mean, I tried it a couple of times, while the Ergo script that it produces is not like the greatest, it is there. And it's only going to get better. And I just think that that is actually a really big thing, because it will then allow for, I guess, more building to occur on chain. And that's a big thing. And yes, ChatGPT does do coding. Some of it is good. Some of it is not very good. But I believe that with Ergo, yeah, it'll be a really powerful tool for us to be able to develop applications in the future. So definitely, definitely something that will make the system robust. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, so in regards with code generation, I'm also thinking regularly. So, current examples where ChatGPT is not producing nonsense. Quite trivial. So, for a request like produce a script where register is an register now in output is an increment of register in input, right? So it's creating a proper Ergo script, but it's pretty much like formal verification. So it's a funny toy, but yeah, it's producing trivial results, while we are interested in non-trivial ones. But it's the problem in the language, I believe. On the low level, we have boxes, registers, right, arithmetic operations, logic operations, and so on and so on. Then we have language for high level, financial instruments language. So we can talk about bonds, options, and so on. Right, and for creating something new and for doing code generation well, I believe we need for some mid-layer language, and the problem is that it does not exist because it wasn't needed before. Right, and it's quite challenging to create such language and even to think what it could be about. But it will appear eventually, I'm pretty sure. And then, it will be possible to create contracts by specifying, what do you want in this mid language. But another thing is that, Ergo contracts are highly templatizable. Right, so you can create contracts templates. Basically, the codes where variables are extracted. There are even EIPs describing serialization format for high-level description of such templates. So, templates and variables can be carried as JSON or binary data. And then, we can start with that. So we can ask ChatGPT maybe about finding proper values for existing templates. So if you have a template for crowdfunding, for example, crowdfunding contract, then you can ask ChatGPT to tune the contracts for your specific needs, right, or something like that. So this direction also looks promising. And for sure, ChatGPT as a code generation tool could be used to generate off-chain parts and front ends. There was some work, I believe it was done as part of headless framework by Robert Kornatsky. The point is that you can write some code for conditions on the boxes, right? You take source, and then from these code specifying logical conditions, you can generate both Ergo scripts and off-chain logic, right? And maybe ChatGPT can do something like that. So from description you're providing, it can generate, maybe from Ergo script description, it can generate off-chain code. Right. So in general, I think, ChatGPT is going to kill, as a code generation tool. It is going to kill so-called DSLs, domain-specific languages, because now, you can basically use ChatGPT as kind of on-the-fly domain-specific language interpreter. So actually, a lot of directions here to get stuff done with less hassle and much quicker, actually.
All right. Yeah. Definitely. It's it's a work in progress, and it does. Like I said, it's it does Ergo script now, but the Ergo script it spits out is just sometimes like, what? Come on, what? Like it was going well, and then it just takes a completely weird detour. Like what is going on? You have to actually. It's very important for ChatGPT for you to give it a lot of details of what you want it to do and how you want it to do it. And a lot of times, actually, it's kind of interesting. Not just for ErgoScript, but in general. I tried it out for a few Scala scripts and Python and whatnot, and I keep having to tell it to write a short or a very short script for it to be concise. Because if you don't tell it that, sometimes it'll just spit out this huge page of script that just, you think about it, like, why is it, why do you need to write so much code? Or a huge page of code, I mean. So you have to tell it sometimes to say, be short. Don't make a wordy piece of code. And that's when it'll start actually somewhat doing it. Of course, this code has to be tweaked, probably about maybe 50% of it has to be tweaked, but more or less it becomes something that's usable. Also, what I found is interesting with ChatGPT is that if you tell it to regenerate, it'll give you a few different versions. And sometimes you just have to kind of, even if the version that it gives you seems okay, it never hurts to regenerate and see what else it gives you. Because sometimes even though you think that the code that it's giving you is good, you tell it to revise the code and it'll actually give you something better. And it's done that a few times for me because I just wasn't happy with the piece of code that it wrote for me. I told it to regenerate. I revised the statement just a little bit sometimes, but sometimes I just leave it the same way and I'll just do click regenerate and it will give you better code some of the times. All right. Let's see. Let's see. There was a good question here. I'm just trying to find it on my screen here. It's a good question for us to kind of take on last. All right. let's see. Right. Well, of course, I can't find the question that I was looking at, but here's actually another good question. Let's see. So, okay, you know what? Let me just kind of paraphrase the question. Maybe we can find it later. But, and this is, oh, here it is. Actually, I found it. This is a good question for Alex, since you're the one developing the core. What are some open? And this is a question from Ryan. What are some open core problems, if any, developers could consider working on for Ergo? What do you think, Alex?
So, what can a new core developer start with, basically?
Yeah. What are some of the problems or some of the solutions that new core developers can start working on to kind of contribute to the code base?
All right. So, yeah, I think to create more issues for newcomers, as well, there are requests. And yeah, well, actually, it is good to see that contributors are coming. So yeah, it's better to start with writing tests all the time, right? To get some knowledge of how things are done. But then, yeah, it depends. So there are some easy parts, and yeah, not even very blockchain specific, like inbuilt wallets, additional indexes, and so on. Then, yeah, well, there is some parts no one is willing to work on all the time. So, yeah, that's on me then. Always. So it's a networking layer, peer-to-peer layer. So would be good to see more contributions there. Yeah, even testing, stress testing, and yeah, checking for possible attacks and so on. But yeah, it's kind of I don't know, maybe hard, maybe boring stuff, it seems. Then, yeah, there are some hard issues, especially in Ergo 3 interpretation, but there are some new contributors there. Then, yeah, Ergo script to Ergo 3 compiler. So you need to understand compilers theory and so on. Then, yeah, there are AVL trees. So some work is needed for them, and then. Yeah, proof of work part and so on. So, well, always, well, more tests and more documentation needed before, yeah, writing something new. So, yeah, we actually have a lot of tests in comparison with all other blockchains. So, I've seen many reference clients, so I can talk with confidence about that. But yeah, more needed all the time. And yeah, so what's actually needed is to repair integration tests. So after many dependencies update and so on. So yes, some tests are simply not working there. Something like that. So yeah, writing benchmarks also needed, especially as we are prepared to work under higher loads. It would be good to benchmark the actual existing code and so on. So I will create more help wanted issues. Maybe even this week.
All right. Well, that's awesome. Thank you, Alex. And I think this is a good place for us to leave it off for today. And again, thanks a lot, everyone, for the great questions. Great to have you all here. And we always look forward to doing these for you every week. And we hope to see you next week. Have a good one, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night to wherever you are in the world.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Bye.